Cooking can be one of the biggest challenges for people who are blind or have low vision. Reading cooking instructions, setting temperatures, tracking the time, monitoring the food while it's cooking, all of these things are potential barriers for the VIP. That's why today we're taking a look at the Tovala Smart Oven and their meal service to see if it can make cooking more accessible for us. We're going to be focusing mainly on the accessibility of the device itself, how accessible is the companion app, and we'll even talk about their home delivered meal kits. But most importantly, we'll be answering the question, can a blind or visually impaired person cook more safely and independently using the Tovala Smart Oven? Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Welcome back to the channel where I help you learn how to live your best blind life. Before we get started, I have to give a huge thank you to Tovala for sending out the Smart Oven Pro so I can make this video for you guys. If you want to learn more about Tovala and their meal delivery kits, you can find all of that contact information in the video description down below. But definitely wait to the end of the video because at the end, we'll be talking about pricing and an amazing deal where you can get over $200 off the Tovala Smart Oven. What is Tovala? It is a countertop smart oven combined with a home delivery meal kit service. The system is designed to simplify cooking by automating a lot of the processes. That includes automatically selecting the time and the temperature of the cooking, making it much easier to successfully cook your food, and in our cases, much easier to independently cook your food. Tovala allows you to cook in 4 different ways. First, you can use the controls that are on the device itself. With these, you can set the cooking mode, the temperature, and the time. Secondly, you could use the onboard QR code and barcode scanner. This lets you very quickly scan QR codes or barcodes on cooking items, and then the smart oven will automatically set everything up for you. All you have to do is put the food in and press start. The third cooking option is through the integrated Tovala app. And incidentally, I think that's where we're going to find most of our accessibility. The fourth and final way is their home delivery meal kits. These are semi-prepared meal kits that take just a very little bit of prep. You can cook everything together in the smart oven, and within about 20 minutes or so, you're eating a gourmet prepared meal. Now, before we take a look at all that, let's check out the Tovala device itself and talk about the built-in accessibility. At first glance, it kind of resembles a large toaster oven. Although it uses a companion smartphone app, you are able to cook everything you want to just from the controls on the oven itself. The first thing I noticed about this is extremely tactile buttons, and that is fantastic. All of the buttons have little tactile markers like bumps or raised lines, and they're even shaped slightly different so you can easily recognize each one. We have 3 areas of buttons. The top one is our cooking mode. We have lots of modes to choose from. You've got conventional baking, broiling, roasting, air frying, even that steaming mode. Next set of buttons down are your temperature buttons, and then the bottom section of buttons is for time. Now, unfortunately, the Tovala oven itself doesn't talk to you in any way. Really, all we have is beeping. When you make a choice, the Tovala beeps, and that is helpful, but it doesn't tell you what you're actually selecting. That's why I think out of the 4 different ways to cook with the Tovala, this one seems to be the least accessible. So let's move on to number 2, using the integrated scanner. Your scan button is in the 12 o'clock position of all of these different cooking modes. So it's really easy to find just by touch and press to initiate the scanner. When you do, a little red scanning light shoots out from below the water reservoir area, and you can use that red laser line to either scan the barcode on a product or the QR code on your meal kit. The Tovala system recognizes prepackaged food items, including a lot from Trader Joe's. But it's an extremely easy process. You just scan the packaging. The Tovala Smart Oven chooses the best cooking mode, the best cooking temperature, and the correct time automatically for you. You don't have to do anything. Then simply click the start button and wait for your food to finish. If you're not signed up to receive their home delivery meal kits, I think using the scanner on the machine and using the scanner in the app, which we'll talk about next, those are going to be the most accessible ways to cook with the Tovala. Next, let's talk about the app itself. During the setup, you do need to connect the oven to your home Wi-Fi, but I'm very happy to say that you do this all through the app, connecting to Wi-Fi, creating your account, and pairing the oven to the app, all very easy and very accessible. Taking a quick tour around the app, which incidentally is available for both iOS and Android, I'm happy to report that it works really well with the mobile screen reader. I haven't run into any major issues or unlabeled buttons. A couple of minor things, we'll talk about those here in a second. We have a couple of tabs at the bottom.
Tab bar, selected, order, tab, 1 of 4.
The first one is the order tab. This is where you can order more meals as part of the home delivery meal kit service.
Cooking, tab, 2 of 4.
The next tab is for cooking. This is where you can go in and scan barcodes or even set up your own manual cooking.
Support, tab, 3 of 4.
Next, we have the support tab.
Settings, tab, 4 of 4.
And then finally is the settings, which also includes your account information. Now, although it works great with screen readers, mobile screen readers, you will notice on mine that there are some on-screen element rendering issues that we have because I have some of the large print accessibility options turned on my iPhone. This is really common. I see it all the time on apps. And this is something that I've already reported to the Tovala team, and they're definitely going to be working on fixing this issue. That being said, the screen reader does read this.
The meal plan has so many great options with fresh ingredients.
So if you do experience words that are cut off, the screen reader will still read it, no problem. So this whole section, you can customize what meals you want. You can even choose how often you receive those meals.
Tab bar, cooking, selected.
On the cooking page, as I said, we can scan barcodes. This is also where we're going to scan the QR code on our meal kit later.
Roasted broccoli, 2 eggs over medium. See all, button.
But another great area in here are the Tovala recipes. So if you're wanting to make something like a breakfast or roast some broccoli, chances are you can come in here to find a recipe that you can just click on and it will automatically populate all the information into the oven as far as time and temperature and make it so much easier for you. Now, if you want to scan a prepackaged food item or scan your meal kit, you come up to
Oven, button.
Oven.
Oven, cooking, back button, scan barcodes and create your own recipes. Scan a barcode, button.
And we're going to tap on that giant button that says scan a barcode. This is going to launch the camera on your phone. You'll scan the item, then click the big button at the bottom that will send all of that information to the smart oven. And all you need to do is press start. Extremely fast, extremely easy, extremely accessible. Let me show you real quick how easy it is to scan the barcode on a product and have all of the cooking information automatically loaded into the Tovala. As I mentioned earlier, we have two options. We can use the scanner on the device itself, or we can scan with the app. The scanner is located just underneath the water reservoir here. When you press the scan button, you want to just try and position the barcode somewhere in this area. And what's nice is you just have to get close. It does a pretty good job of scanning the barcode. That works pretty well, but that still might be a little tricky, especially for some visually impaired users. So a better option might be to scan using the Tovala app.
Cooking, tab, 2
We
of
just
4.
want to go to the cooking tab. Then in the upper right, click on the oven button.
Oven, cooking, back button.
And right
Scan a
in the
barcode,
middle,
button.
we have scan button.
Oven, back button.
This launches your camera. There's a little white square in the middle of the screen, but I found that as long as the camera sees the barcode, it will automatically scan it. So I'm just going to hold it
Barcode
over.
detected.
And there we go. Very quickly, it saw the barcode. I can swipe through some options.
Tutorial, scanner, heading, view Stouffer's macaroni and cheese, button.
I can view some information about how to cook the Stouffer's macaroni and cheese, including the time and the temperature, all of that.
Cook Stouffer's macaroni and cheese.
I can click on Cook Stouffer's macaroni and cheese, and that will send all the information right to the oven.
Dismiss and keep scanning.
Or I can dismiss this and scan something else. Once I have the food in the oven, I can click Start on the oven itself, or I can click
Cook button.
the Cook button in the app. Now let's take a look at the home delivery meal kit and talk about the accessibility of going with this option. In the kit, you get this information sheet that has step-by-step instructions on preparing the meal. And there's also a QR code on the sheet that you can scan with the Tovala, and it will tell the machine how to cook the meal. You do have the option of using some type of device to scan and read this information out to you, an OCR device or an app on your phone. But I think a much more accessible route is to scan the barcode with the Tovala app and then just follow the instructions through the app.
Barcode detected. Use shrimp and grits button. Cook time tagged with shrimp and grits. Description heading. Some say that shrimp and grits is just for breakfast, but we like to enjoy this quintessential Southern staple at all times of the day.
Now I'm just going to go down the list of directions here, working my way all the way to the bottom.
Enjoy before Saturday. Nutrition button heading. In the box button heading. Collapse.
We have a section here talking about what comes in the box.
In the box heading.
Let's jump in there and see what it says.
Butter X2 image.
All right, 2 butters, we got that.
Butter X2 shrimp image.
All right, I've got the packet of shrimp.
Shrimp cheddar grits image.
Cheddar grits, I'm assuming that's what's in the metal tin.
Cheddar grits Creole shrimp sauce image.
Creole shrimp sauce. We only have 1 sauce packet, so that's probably what that is.
Creole shrimp sauce Creole spice blend image.
And then Creole spice blend.
Preparation steps button heading.
Preparation
Collapse.
steps, that's what we want.
Preparation steps heading. Expanded. Freeze or cook shrimp within 2 days of receiving. Refrigerate the rest of this meal and consume before the enjoy before date. Separate the nested aluminum trays. Remove the plastic film on the cheddar grits tray. Then add 2 tablespoons of water to the grits. No need to stir.
Oh, there's 2 trays here. Okay. That's super helpful.
If you separate the nested aluminum trays, remove the plastic film on the cheddar grits tray. Then add 2 tablespoons of water to the grits. No need to stir.
Next.
Open the shrimp and discard any extra liquid. Then add the shrimp to the extra tray. Add the Creole shrimp sauce and the Creole spice blend to the shrimp tray and stir to combine.
Okay, easy. Pretty much put everything else in the empty tin. Okay, Creole sauce. Ooh, that's good. And Creole spice blend in a little cup here. Next.
Put both trays in your oven and scan the QR code. Then press start. Cook on tray.
All right, we just sent the information to the smart oven. Now we have to put this into it. All right. Throw these in on the center rack, and now we just press the start button. Looking pretty good in there. All right, while that's cooking, I want to talk about one potential problem with the home delivery meal kit service. As I mentioned, you get this informational sheet in the box of food. It has a picture of the meal and then step-by-step instructions, basically what I followed through the app you have on the paper here. Then it has the QR code that you scan, and that tells the machine how to cook the food. The problem that we run into, though, is maybe the blind person not knowing where that QR code is. But the problem you run into is that not all of these recipes are as simple as this shrimp and grits one. Some of them, like this one here, has multiple QR codes. For example, this recipe here could come with chicken, meatloaf, or salmon. And depending on which protein you ordered would depend on which QR code you need to scan. Now, they will all have the QR codes along one side, either top, middle, or bottom, which could be helpful. You know, maybe if you order chicken, you know the top one's always going to be chicken. But unfortunately, these options aren't always going to be the same. So this is a slight problem with the meal service, and it's one that I've already spoken with Tovala and their engineers to try and come up with a solution for this to make this process more accessible. Now, here's another issue you might run into with the meal kit. Unlike the shrimp and grits, which was a super simple recipe, you might get some meals that have several ingredients. And a lot of this is pretty easy to identify just by touch. For example, this is some kind of crispy garnish. This bag is clearly broccoli. I mean, those are easy to identify. But here I have 3 different sauce packs. And although they are different colors, and that might be able to give you some type of clue as to what they are, without opening them up and tasting them, there's really no way to tell what these are. The recipe might say, all right, open up the teriyaki sauce packet. Well, if you couldn't see the colors, which one's the teriyaki sauce packet? Currently as it is, they don't give you any other way to identify these. But just like the QR codes on the instruction sheets, I've already spoken with Tovala and we're working on a way to make this more accessible as well.
Hey guys, Editing Sam here. I do want to point out that the name of the sauce is printed on the sauce packet, but it's extremely small print and difficult to read even with magnification. Of course, you could use some type of OCR device or app on your phone to read the name of the sauce out loud, but ideally I'd rather not have to rely on some other device or some other system to get this information. I'd rather find a solution to make this specific problem more accessible.
All right, I think our food's almost done, so let's check it out. All right, shrimp and grits. This looks amazing. I didn't let it cool down enough, but it's amazing. I've actually cooked about 5 of these meal kits at this point, and everything has tasted really, really good. Now, I have gotten a couple that I didn't quite like them as much as I thought I would, but that's more to personal preference and not the taste or the quality. Ah, still too hot. Here's another use for the included oven mitt. But I think these grits, shrimp and grits, are gonna be one of my favorites. Let's wrap up with some questions and then I'll give you my final thoughts on the Tovala Smart Oven Pro. Firstly, who is this product for? Well, if you are blind or visually impaired and you want a more convenient and accessible way to cook, I think this would be a great option. I would also say that being a proficient smartphone user would be highly recommended. Okay, who is this device not for? First and foremost, if you don't have Wi-Fi, you might not want to pick this up because you're going to miss out on most of the functionality and most of the accessibility of the smart oven. Another question, does it improve accessibility in cooking? And I think that's a bit of a tricky question because simply cooking in a traditional oven or on a traditional stovetop can be very accessible if you know how to. I would say the Tovala Smart Oven expands your cooking options and makes those options easier, more efficient, more reliable, and inevitably more accessible. We talked about accessibility. What about independence? Does it increase independence? Absolutely. With all of those extra cooking options you have, you get excited and you want to try new things. And because of the accessibility, you're free to try those new things independently. All right, quickly, let's talk about the pros and the cons of the Tovala Smart Oven system. For the pros, we have the tactile buttons on the controls. This makes it extremely easy to find and interact with all of the buttons on the controls. Accessible barcode scanning, both on the smart oven itself and with the app. Being able to scan a barcode, throw the food in, press start, and that's it. I mean, come on, that's pretty awesome. And speaking of app integration, being able to search and choose recipes provided through the app, being able to scan barcodes and go through all of the cooking instructions through the app, and then being able to manually set all of the functions of the smart oven using the accessibility on your smartphone. I think that is where this really shines. A couple other pros would be minimal meal prep, especially with the home delivery meal kits. It's literally like 2 minutes of throwing it together and then popping it in the oven. Speaking of cooking in the oven, consistent cooking results. Having a device where most of the functions are all automated takes the guesswork or the inexperience of the person out of the equation, meaning you get more consistent results. Speaking of scanning, just the incredible number of prepackaged food items that the oven will recognize, over 1,000 different products, and also being able to monitor your food's cooking progress through the app. What about the cons? There are a couple. Number one, the smart oven does require Wi-Fi. Another one might be that it sits on your countertop and it's going to take up some countertop space. Another con definitely is the ongoing price of the meal subscription service if you're signed up for that. Another issue is that some of the setup might require sighted assistance. For me, it was installing the steam cover inside of the oven. I just wasn't sure which way it went. There was also a cling sticker on the front of the glass door here that needed to be removed before you start cooking. And I could totally see a blind person not even realizing there was a sticker on the front of the glass. I do want to point out a couple of hiccups along the way. I did have some issues, but we also got some resolutions. First of all, while the buttons here are tactile and it does beep when you press the different buttons, that's really the limit of the accessibility of the device itself. But in the future, it would be great if we had some talking audio prompts. So when I pressed the button, it read out loud what I was choosing. Next, regarding the app, I mentioned that there were a couple minor little issues. Firstly, like I said, the rendering of the text on the screen was a little wonky, but I also ran into slight issues with the screen reader. Although it does read everything out loud, which is great, some of the on-screen elements didn't read out in the right order. For example, there's an area where you choose the cooking mode, and underneath each of those options, it has a little description of what it does. Well, when swiping through with VoiceOver, the focus hits all of the different options first, then goes back down and reads all of the different descriptions in order. Instead, it should read out the option, then read out the description, then read out the next option, next description.
Convection bake. Image. Steam. Image. Broil low. Image. Broil high. A fast, even heat using the convection fan. Combine steam with convection baking. Best for searing, browning, or crisping with high heat. Best for searing, browning, or crisping with high heat.
Then another issue for me was with the home delivery meal kits. As I mentioned during that segment, knowing where the QR codes are, knowing what all the different packaging actually was while you're prepping the food, those can all be a little tricky. But I did say we have some resolution. I actually did a Zoom call with some of the Tovala team and went through and talked about all of these accessibility pain points. And they were extremely receptive, and they've already talked about how they can fix a lot of these problems. So I'm confident in very near future software updates and iterations of the kits, we're gonna have solutions to all of these problems. So that's fantastic. And I'll also say that all of those issues as they are right now are definitely not deal breakers and definitely not a reason I would consider not recommending the Tovala Smart Oven. And the big question, do I recommend this to blind or visually impaired users? Absolutely. If you think this would fit into your world and provide benefit for you, then yes, I definitely recommend it. I think the real power of the Tovala Smart Oven system isn't just convenience. For many blind and visually impaired users, it could make cooking feel less intimidating and allow them to prepare more meals independently with less reliance on others. If you want to pick up the Tovala Smart Oven by itself, the regular oven is $299. If you wanted to get the Pro model, the one that I have here, which includes the steaming features, it's $349. So for just $50 more, you get all the extra features. But if you choose to get the home delivery meal service, if you commit to ordering 6 weeks worth of meals within a 6-month period, the Smart Oven price drops considerably. The standard Tovala Smart Oven drops from $299 to just $69. And the Pro model drops from $349 to $119. Once again, just $50 more from the standard model. And the best part, if you use the code THEBLINDLIFE, all one word, all capital letters, that will bring the price of the Tovala Smart Oven Pro down to that $69 price of the regular Smart Oven if you sign up for the subscription plan. And it could even be the smallest plan they have. That still counts. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, if you want contact information, I'll have links in the video description down below. If you like this video and found it helpful, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed to The Blind Life. Turn on those post notifications so you'll be alerted every time I post a new video, which is generally every week. Thank you again for watching. Staying with The Blind Life. I will see you next time. And as I mentioned before, the top button In or out? You coming in, you coming out? What are you doing? I'm trying to record here. All right, we'll just carry on. And when you press the scan button,